Sandra Bullock, John Malkovich. What's the name of that woman from American Horror Story that dies right in the beginning? The sister. Couldn't think of her fucking name. Sandra Bullock's sister dies immediately in this movie, so that's good. She's kind of an annoying actress anyways, isn't she?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't really see a ton of it. She did a convincing job of, suiciding them in the car.
Yeah. Are you throwing up?
This movie grabbed me. I was like, holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no suspense. There was no build up. They didn't go the dun 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 dun. Oh, look, ice cream. There was no fake out. It was just you look at something and then they just start killing themselves.
Yeah. There's an actor in this movie named Tom Hollander. Poor bastard. Oh, Sarah Paulson, that's her name. Jesus. So Sandra Bullock, still hot, by the way. She's what, like 50 at this point?
I mean,
come on, help me out
if
here.
you got the right juice diet, then
Sandra Bullock is 56 years old. Holy sugar. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And she wanted to bang like that young dude, and he was into it. Whatever that guy's name was. I don't remember. But
the guy that was there for a while but didn't matter.
Yeah. That's his name, Machine Gun Kelly. I was like, who is this lanky ass dude? I've seen him somewhere before. But apparently it was Machine Gun Kelly. Anyways. So
So do you think his exit was because like he got kicked out of the county for methamphetamines? Like, because that was a really abrupt exit for those two characters. They were just like, all right, guys, where'd they go? Fuck? Where'd the car at?
I think it's because he and Eminem had that back and forth a couple years ago, maybe around the time that this was out. So they're like, all right, you gotta go.
You've been roasted off the movie. Get the fuck out.
Controversial statement, possibly, but I thought that he owned Eminem there. So
he did not. No.
I'm a big this is a big Eminem house, but he got his shit fucking. That song that he responded with sucked. It's awful.
Kill Shot was awesome. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it sucked. His flow was terrible.
Well, I mean, you're allowed to be blatantly wrong. Just
exactly.
Positively,
you know.
I know you're wrong. I don't know why. Not even close. I don't know what. Okay, so
can I ask, what is the time skip that we consistently get in this movie? There's a present day, which is where they're on the river, Sandra Bullock and seemingly her two children at this point. What is the difference in years of how long are they at this?
I mean, those kids have got to be at least like 5, right?
Yeah, I would say 5, 6, something like that. So I don't know.
So 4.5. So 5 years because the kids were born and then the time skipped.
Yeah, it's really just weird to think about that you have been on the run from nothing that you've ever seen for 5 or 6 years with children. How did you get the kids to get to that point?
I mean, I imagine when they're really young, you just gotta like use masking tape or something. Like put tape on the face and make them wear mittens.
Jesus.
So they can't, because otherwise they'll take the tape off and die.
Yeah. Seemingly, because you can look sometimes if you know where they are or something. So the villain in this movie is a like demon or something, or an alien. I don't really know exactly what it is.
They specifically don't tell us what it is. It's a mystery.
So it's a spirit of some sort.
It's a something, and it can't open doors or break windows, but it can make wind move.
Right.
And it can fly because a couple times they show it like lighting up like an upstairs window, or the sister, she's looking up at it when she's driving, she's not looking down. So it's something that can fly, can cause a lot of wind, deafening wind, almost like helicopter level wind, but it can't break windows or open doors.
Right. So does it exist?
I mean, does our podcast exist? It can't. Our podcast can't open doors or break your window unless you like print it out and wrap the transcript around a rock.
Mm-hmm. I don't follow. I don't know. It's just a really weird concept to me. A cool concept, but it's a weird concept to think that she's been running from something for 5+ years.
This is a kind of a weird take on the on like the Lovecraftian horror, the idea that there are, you know, beings or things that if you see them, they kind of drive you crazy. This is that like turned up to 11, where you just see it and your mind is basically just gone.
Right, except the people who become like fanatics of this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I think the rule was that everyone who was crazy saw it and then thought they were beautiful instead of killing themselves.
Sure.
So, I mean, take that how
maybe
you
it
will.
was the people who were willing to accept what they were seeing, because the rest of the people just seemed like in horror from it.
They seemed in horror to you. I thought I thought they just seemed kind of blank or mindless.
Oh, because I think back to Sarah Paulson when she died. She's just going driving into traffic and such. So flips her car with a pregnant Sandy Bullock in her car because she sees this specter or whatever. I don't. What are we gonna call this thing for the rest of this review, just for consistency's sake?
The spookiness.
Yeah, I was on board at this point. Not
Yes,
BOR.
so you were fine with like every single car crash resulting in an explosion. Like every single car crash was an explosion.
No. I was on board with the concept at this point.
In this universe, if you get a flat tire, your car explodes.
Yeah, except when it flips over with a pregnant woman in the passenger seat.
No, that one exploded later.
Did it?
I think so.
Oh. So there's this really
a count when a plot character is nearby, a countdown starts.
Yeah. There's
I have a note here that
weird
says
exchange. Go ahead.
I have a note here that says these people need to stop storing tanks of nitroglycerin in their glove compartments. Those are for gloves and emergency snacks, not explosives.
So I have a note here. It says a sound makes people kill themselves. And I don't know why I wrote that, because it's clearly
that is the opposite of what happens.
The opposite. So I don't know why. Maybe I was having a stroke at that point, and I knew what tall task I had ahead of me.
That's probably when you never mind. So it might have been you were talking about when the Asian guy uses the computer monitor and he still gets turned because he thought maybe that wouldn't affect it.
Mm-hmm.
Which that seems like a weird plot point to make, because it seems like someone would have been hit with the image on like Periscope, or like maybe someone was on Twitch outdoors, or even like live on CNN. Yeah. Like it would have been in the news. It would have been common knowledge. Like everyone, you would have gotten like a like a Federal Emergency Broadcast, like caution, close your eyes.
Yeah, because if that shit came from CNN, you'd be in trouble. Be like, I'm gonna go outside and look anyways, because I don't believe these fuckers. So, oh my God, what is that? I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me.
We know how Dan's gonna die when someone tries to warn him about the apocalypse.
Well, it's a good thing I won't be watching that shit. But yeah, this has been Media Men Politics.
This has been oddly political with just Dan.
Yep. I'm willing to say with quite confidence, fuck CNN. So we'll move on from there. So, but we can all go home. Sorry, that's stuck in my head. I didn't really didn't really feel any attachment to any of these characters because I was on board with Sandy Bullock until she started lecturing John Malkovich about life. It's like this dude is like 75. He's been through it. He's probably been in the military and he's been married like 4 times per his, you know, him saying it. And there's this moment where she's just like lecturing him like he's a child, and I'm just like, God, these poor kids. When these kids are born, you're just gonna be in so much trouble. But they do this thing. John Malkovich they go to the grocery store or whatever, and he starts drinking, and they're like, "We're gonna make the end of the world great again." Like, God damn it! Of course, this movie came out in 2018. What is this?
So that's why you hate the movie. Okay, I was wondering what caused it.
Yep. The one thing that happened that I complained about is the one reason that I hate the movie.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So I just the characters, there was just at one point there was about an hour worth of movie time where it was just the subsequent killing of all the characters that didn't really matter in the end, because we see that she's by herself in the beginning of the movie with the two kids. So it's like, yeah, we know that every single person along the way is going to die. Let's just get this over with.
Well, no, I mean, Machine Gun Kelly didn't die.
He didn't?
No, he and the other chick, they stole the car and left.
The other chick. Yeah, that's fair. I maybe I spaced out. I don't know at that point, but
and I mean, there was a good chance they would just left the MAGA guy to like drink. Like if I were him, I would have just stayed in the supermarket.
Yeah.
Like they were like, oh, there's something weird in the freezer. We can't stay here. I'm like, fuck that. Let's barricade that thing. I'm just barricading that whole place, and we're gonna see how long I can survive on non-perishables in a grocery store.
Right. So we get flashes back and forth with, present day and then 5 years ago, I guess. We never really say, but there's a dude. So we're in present day now, and it's Sandy Bullock and her 2 kids. Technically, one of them's not her kid. I don't remember which, but there was another pregnant lady along the way who doesn't make it. So
yeah, she sees the spookiness.
Yeah,
because they fall for the most obviously evil character ever and invite him in like a vampire.
Of course.
Because they'd only fallen for that once before.
Yeah. And yeah, they do this consistently. Is whoever is at the door, it's like, come on, except the dude in the river who's like saying, oh, why don't you open your eyes and look? And if you were trying to swindle somebody, I mean, I know this dude is nuts, but you could tell immediately that he was trying to pull one over on you. It's like, maybe he could at least pretend like that you opening your eyes would be safety or whatever the case. But he's just like, hey, why don't you just give in? Just die. It's like, wait, maybe start one way first and we'll work our way to death.
Yeah, he was like one step away from like, hello, this is a public service announcement that your social security number has been hacked by the FBI.
Please enter
your credit card number now or you'll go to jail. I mean, those weird robocalls with like really dumb scams you get? That's this guy.
Yep. Oh my God. Pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, the thing that bothered me the most in this movie, other than all the plot holes that I'll bring up one at a time, everyone was very lackadaisical in here. Like, you're fighting for your life against the clock, against the apocalypse, and like, oh, well, look, there's batteries. I'm like, you already know what size you want. Either grab them or get the fuck on.
Yeah.
Everyone's they're looking around, like they're trying to find art, or they're looking for like a secret clue in a video game. Just run down that hallway and get to safety because everyone you known is dead.
Yeah.
But you don't really seem to be motivated by fear.
Right. All right. Do you want to run down some of your plot holes now?
Yeah. Okay. I already talked about the whole computer monitor thing and the fact that if this image was transmittable that way, then yeah, that's an issue. But no one thought about like doing like a Polaroid camera.
Right.
I mean, would like a still picture of them cause it? Because that'd be pretty wild. What if you could draw it?
Yeah, and just show it to John Malkovich because he's a piece of shit apparently.
The monsters can move wind but can't touch you. Like, how is this a weather event? Like, why do they have helicopter level wind, but they don't? But sometimes they can also be quiet. They can also be completely quiet if they want to.
Right.
Like, so I mean, they can either turn the wind off or on. So it seems like 10 of them. They could really just do like like the Three Little Pigs story, where like they can at least kill everyone in a straw hut and a hut made of sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bricks, that won't be as many. All those slab homes, those are going to go down.
We do get a moment where there's another crazy guy, a dude who saw the light and has accepted it, or whatever the hell happens to these mad fanatics, who was like drawing them, but every single image looked different. So it's like I think that was a nice little thing to kind of be like, hey, this could be what it looks like, but maybe not.
Yeah, I thought those were more. When I saw it, that's what made me think of like the Lovecraftian horror things because they kind of remind me of some of the art that you see in games like Darkest Dungeon and that's all I can think about right now actually, but other games too.
Sure.
I think there's a game for PS4 that's very Lovecraftian too, but it's escaping me right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a big fan of like that kind of stuff because you just don't see it very often.
Yeah.
But don't tell Ubisoft that or they'll run it in the ground.
So let's talk about that guy. So who's the lady? So there's this crazy guy that they're in the room with. This is, I think, Sandy just gave birth or she was about to give birth, right? The crazy guy that did the drawings. And he grabs one of the ladies there, the older lady, and he's like prying her eyes open to look at the thing. And she just grabs some scissors. Like you can see her eyes go like, what was that? Like, it kind of looked like Galaxy-esque. I couldn't really tell what was happening to her eyes, but they got all weird, right?
Yeah, just like super, like she'd just taken some drugs.
Yeah,
space drugs.
And then she just starts stabbing herself in the neck with scissors. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, why didn't she use the scissors on him while she still had her mind?
I don't know. So, do you think it would have played better if instead of killing themselves, they died from seeing whatever it was, even if they didn't show us what it was?
I don't think you would have had to have some other hook to this movie, because if I guess if they had like a seizure and then they died from that.
Sure.
I don't know. I think that would lose that kind of impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be something graphic, like Medusa technically turned to stone.
Yeah. Ooh, that would have been cool. And then you're just like everyone around you is just frozen as they were. Oh, imagine that. That'd be cool. And then you just have
an anime about that, or like everyone's a stone.
Just by looking at something. Is this the prequel to Dr. Stone? No.
This is the dry run in the alternate universe.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that would have been really cool because then you have to walk by the people who are like stuck in stone every day. Just see what these people were doing. It's like who's in whose wife, when they saw it. That kind of thing.
I mean, who's doing that outdoors in most cases?
Who isn't? You're not living if you're not. But yeah, I think that would have been a cool twist there. But also, the turning to stone process would have had to be painful, not just like a serene thing, right? I think that would have been pretty cool if it's just like,
Yeah,
fuck,
so,
I'm turning to
so that
stone.
every statue is just someone just in absolute agony.
Yeah. It's
But
like, oh
then,
my
like,
God, that's my brother.
yeah, but the thing is, the monsters become very useless if there aren't crazy humans. In which case, like, oh, I'm crazy, so I'm not stoned. That kind of falls apart.
True.
The monster would have had to have some other way of like opening doors and like holding people's eyes open.
Yeah, that's true. Hmm.
But
So
yeah, I
that's
mean, the entire movie is one big plot hole because they never explain why the hundreds and potentially thousands of crazy people who are riding around on four wheelers looking for people that have their eyes closed don't find the school for the blind. Pretty sure one of them would Googled, oh, what about blind people school? Oh, there's a school for the blind right down the road.
yeah. That's one of my notes here. The blind live on. So,
Yeah, but like they don't explain why. It's like, oh, we better leave them alone.
yeah.
The crazy murder people. Well, they don't go back to the disabled. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
If you're in a wheelchair, you're also safe.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
what
being pregnant. That's when they fucking hate you.
yeah, I don't think blindness is genetic either. So I think that your kids are going to be able to see and then they're just going to be dying unless they just
Well, no,
blindfold them
then you're
all
gonna
and
have
they're
like Sandra Bullock slapping them when they take off their thing, like smack. No.
yeah, that's true. Because I mean, I guess that's the benefit of living with the blind is you learn how to, you know,
I
use
don't know,
all
badly
your
able
other
to see.
senses and
You
yeah.
spit. I mean, imagine like the entire world slowly rebuilding while there's just these omnipresent hurricane machines floating around, hoping someone's gonna look around.
Yeah. That's we should probably clarify. So Sandra Bullock on the river in present day is looking for Wexler's School of the Blind, so which
It's
is where Clayton Bigsby learned his trade.
okay. That's
Did you
also
get
where we find out the kids' names are girl and boy.
Are they really?
Yep.
Oh my God. I did not catch that. That's
You didn't catch that. That was the movie sells the doctor's face, which I describe as an understated this fucking bitch.
yeah. You know what's weird is that the ending sequence where they're after the kids almost drown and somehow they don't because they're in a raging river and neither of them can swim. So somehow they all survive. But after that, there's literally no tension. It's just them getting to that school. There's no tension whatsoever.
Yeah, the the second half of the movie is really repetitive. It's just wind and loud music.
Hmm.
This movie could do with a nice little trim editing to turn it into an hour and 15-minute movie, maybe.
Yeah. How
I
long
think
was
that
this
would have
fucking
been.
movie?
I think that would have made a really solid thing, and then you could have two more where they rebuild the world while the hurricane's just going along.
Oh
People are
boy.
trying to use like Polaroid cameras and radar to figure out what the fuck's going on.
What would your guess be on the runtime?
Um, my runtime guess is going to be 95 minutes.
2 hours and 4 minutes. That's per imdb.com. So
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with an hour and 15 minutes for how long it should have been.
yeah,
They
yeah,
should have
that's
cut
fair.
out an hour of that movie.
Yeah, would have been
Did I do the
really
math
nice.
right there? I don't know. Whatever the math is, that's something they should have cut out.
Yeah, I'd be into that. That'd be much more digestible.
Yeah, so I was trying to come up with like a reasonable explanation for why the monsters, like there would have to be a reason why they showed up when they did. So my thoughts were, my first thought was like aliens, but like anything that could travel the universe would be powerful enough to open up a door. If just to put it this way, if a pull don't push handle will stop your alien invasion, you're not a real alien.
Right.
So my second thought was like something spiritual, like this is like some revelation shit.
That
Like
could
once
be.
the world population's down to 144,000 Jehovah's Witnesses, Jesus is gonna come back on a horse. And my another one was like maybe like another country like had a weird weapon.
Yeah, fucking China, right?
Yeah. And this is all just some sort of like because it has to be outdoors, so maybe like a satellite line of sight thing, or I don't know, because it has to be smart enough to follow around people and not
Right.
animals, because otherwise you'd have to have one for every animal. So otherwise they'd realize it, and they'd realize that's going on, and they'd just be clustered around the house like moths. But they kind of run around, kind of like maliciously.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, nothing really. If you assume that these things are acting rationally, nothing really makes sense. But if you assume they're acting the way these screenwriters would write like an enemy, I think like some sort of spiritual demon would work. But why can't demons go inside? It's the
Right.
inside that's really throwing me off here.
Yeah.
Interdimensional aliens would go through walls pretty easily.
Yeah.
You would have to have some sort of tap into human psyche. So like a earthbound weapon makes sense, but there's nothing to follow it up. There's no like invasion afterwards. And it's 5 years. Someone's gonna want like the trees in California. They're gonna come for our. They're gonna come for the pine wood and cotton or something. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, America's the bread basket of the world. Someone's gonna show up and steal the wheat if America's being attacked and not everyone else is. It could be some like Doctor Doom type thing,
What do you mean?
like an evil scientist. It could be a weapon made by an evil scientist. So he's in his volcano,
Yeah.
just like. But like, that's the only thing that makes sense is some sort of villain-esque activity. There's no rational explanation for it that follows the oh, he's safe, don't get him rule.
Right. Interesting. And I just started to think of this, but is there consistency in the direction at which they're looking? Because that might show, let's say they were all looking east. That might show that it's like a Russian, I hate to throw Russia under the bus, but it's like a Russian, satellite
it's not
or something.
on the horizon though, because it's down among the trees.
That's true. Huh.
So it's small enough to fit to like walk to like float through a forest, but you're not safe just like being above ground or like
Wow.
being above like ground level. So it has to fly, and also it has to be able to fly silently and make wind happen, but it can't go inside.
Wow, I don't know. What if there's some sort of like psychological gas that was released, some sort of vapor? It was like a Terrigen mist of sorts, just screwed with everyone's mind, and it was triggered as soon as they looked at whatever it was.
Well, that wouldn't explain like the hurricane wind though.
Yeah.
That wind is intense.
It probably, not only was it's smart on the creator's part, but they probably didn't even know what to make of it either. They probably don't even know what it is. Let's be honest here.
I'm willing to bet they haven't actually written anything for as to why it is. They it's kind of like Lost, where if they showed you the ending, you'd be pissed.
Right. I've never seen Lost. Is that bad?
I mean, if you missed it, then you missed it.
Okay, that's fair. I'll never go back.
No, I mean, the problem is the ending is so bad that you can't talk about it.
Right.
Oh man, season 3 of Lost is awesome. Yeah, but the ending though. I mean, it's an interesting movie. Way too long. Why we need a fan cut?
Yeah.
But there aren't a ton of movies where the villain isn't just a person that's
Right.
crazy. This is a unknown entity that's crazy. Completely different.
So, on IMDb, sorry, my voice went there a little bit. There are 267,348 ratings for an average score of 6.6 out of 10. Is that about where you sit?
Um, yeah, talking about it now, I'm remembering it's so long that it really drags it down.
Yep.
If it were tightly edited, it'd be like a 7.5. But you have to back out the parts that are boring in your mind, right? Like you can't just
Yeah.
give them credit for having a good concept. So, I'm gonna step down from that and give it a 6, just because it is aggressively long, and there are parts of it that it's just, what do you? I've seen this already.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
someone was getting kickbacks on using the wind machine.
Yeah, I'm sitting around 5.5. I don't think it was a terrible movie by any stretch, but I was just
I thought
bored
you.
for a lot
I
of it.
thought. Well, you said this was worse than Shark Lake.
Yeah, it is.
You're telling me Shark Lake's a 6?
No. Yeah, it's fair. I'm gonna have to reevaluate my rating process.
I
This
mean,
movie
mine's.
was really boring. The concept is an A+ concept, but the I did like the acting as well. Sandy's always good. I mean,
I
I can't think of
I
a
am kind
role
of
where
in
she's
love with
bad.
Sandra Bullock. She
Yeah.
must be crazy.
What's that?
She must be crazy because I like her.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Malkovich is always good. I didn't know any of the other actors, but I liked all of their performances. The Tom was the guy's name that Sandy was about to bang. He was pretty decent.
You know,
Um,
John Malkovich's character, he acted it well, but I hated the character so
yeah,
much, and it took him too long to die. I'm like, why are you so aggressively dumb?
yeah,
Like, you can be an asshole if you want, but like he brings up good points and then they ignore it because he's an asshole. But then he's just like really dumb points too. And also, when the garage door gets opened up, close your eyes.
yeah.
You're in a room alone with the need to close your eyes, and he dies.
Yeah. You
Come
know,
on.
you are going to love John Malkovich in Red. He's so good, like literally hilarious. He's like a conspiracy theory guy who not to get too far off topic here, we'll talk about it later or
Yeah.
in a future episode, but he's a conspiracy theory guy who thought that the government was giving him mind control experiments, and it turns out they actually were. They were giving him small doses of LSD for 11 years. So he's nuts. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Such a good
Well, thank
movie.
you for spoiling the entire movie.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy spoilers right there. 30% of the ratings, by the way, were a 7 out of 10. So a lot of people were right in the middle with us. What were you?